This is the episode that I dislike. It's the number one episode that I really do not like watching. I do not enjoy this episode at all. You'll have to let me know if you like it or not. I do not like it, and I will tell you later why I do not like it. Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. This is where we read books and we talk about books. No special effects going on here. No D music. None of that fancy schmancy stuff going on here. This is my Star Trek Next Generation recaps. It happens every single Friday. Please go back. I've done all 137 episodes. They started with episode 100. We've started them all. We're going through them all. Then we're going to go through some of the movies, and then we'll start with Voyager after that point. But we have to get through this. This is season 6. This is disc 3. This is episode 237, part 2. We did part 1 last week, and I have this thing. You can fill it in. And this is the number one video where my sound does go. So fingers crossed the sound does not go on this video. The lighting does come and go. I have tried all types of things. I haven't figured it out. Best Buy and Hewlett Packard say there's nothing wrong with my computer. So what can you do? What can you do? So we're starting something new here. And we did Quality of Life. We did Chain of Command last week. This week we are doing Chain of Command Part 2. So where are we? Chain of Command Part 2. We start off with the last time on Star Trek Next Generation. Picard, you are hereby required and requested and required to relinquish command of your vessel to Captain Edward Jellicoe, commanding officer of the USS Cairo, as of this date. And then Jellicoe comes in. I want this ship ready for action. I don't have time to give Will, Riker, or anyone else a chance. And forgive me for being blunt, but the Enterprise is mine now. And then they show our people's. So this is the transfer of power in the last episode. They did it on the observation lounge. 10 forward, but not on the bridge. I thought they would have done it on the bridge, make it more formal, but no, they did it in 10 forward, and all the senior staff was there watching, and they don't understand it. Then we had Picard, Crusher, and Worf on a secret mission that goes bad. It was a complete trap, and now they are prisoners. He has been captured by the Cardassians. You should prove an interesting challenge, possibly the most interesting to come through the dot door in many years. What do you want? Why, you, of course. And that's where the episode starts. They have Picard sealed to a chair, handcuffed, whatever, and they torture him. They gave him a truth serum, and he has to answer questions. I do not like this episode because they torture Picard. I do not like this episode at all. So then we are back on the Enterprise with Captain Jellicoe. Gulamek, I assure you that what the Federation wants above all is the preservation of peace. Then how do you explain the fact that a Federation team launched an unprovoked assault on Cardassian territory less than 14 hours ago? I don't know what you're talking about, Jellicoe says. Let me explain. Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Lieutenant Worf, and Dr. Beverly Crusher landed on Celtis 3, attacked one of our outposts in a brutal assault, and killed over 55 men and women. What evidence do you have of that, Jellicoe says. We have all the evidence we need. We have Captain Picard. Riker asks, is he alive? The Cardassian Union has yet to describe how it will respond to this last provocation, but rest assured we will respond. And there you have the Cardassians that they're talking to. So the Cardassians leave, and Riker turns to Jellicoe. Is there any truth in what he's saying? Captain Picard and the others were sent to investigate reports of magnetic weapon on Celtus 3. It is possible they may have been captured, but if they did escape, they'll head for the Lycian system. The Enterprise is supposed to meet them there in 8 hours. Will, I want you to take a shuttlecraft and head for the rendezvous point. The Enterprise will have to remain here until the endgame with Gul Lemek is played out. Aye, sir. And he leaves. So Picard is being brought to somebody, and he says, I demand to see a neutral representative as required by the Federation Cardassian Peace Treaty. We have already sent a message to 2-3, the nearest neutral planet. They assure us they will dispatch someone immediately. Will you allow me to remove your restraints? He takes his restraints off. I understand that you are a student of archaeology. Did you know that Cardassian boasts some of the most ancient and splendid ruins in the entire galaxy? I know the burial vaults of the first Hebitian civilization are said to be magnificent. Madrid says apparently when they were first unearthed 200 years ago, they were. The burial vaults contained unimaginable beautiful artifacts made of Jevonite, rare, breathtaking stone, but most of those objects are gone. What happened to them? What happens to impoverished societies? The tombs were plundered, priceless treasures stolen. A few were preserved in museums, but even those were eventually sold in order to pay for our war efforts. That war cost you hundreds of thousands of lives. It depleted your food supplies, left your population weakened and miserable, and yet you risk another war. Let's not waste time arguing about issues we can't resolve. Would you care to tour the Habitian burial vault? What I would like to be is returned to my ship. My dear Captain, you are a criminal. You have been apprehended invading one of our secret facilities. The least that will happen to you is to stand trial and be punished. But I'm offering you the opportunity to be civilized. What is the price of this opportunity? Cooperation. We need to know the Federation's defense strategy for Milos Kova. You've injected me with drugs. Surely you must realize I've already answered truthfully every question you've put to me. Captain, you've gone to straight lengths to lure you here because we know that in the event of an invasion, the Enterprise will be the command ship for the sector encompassing Milos Kovas. Picard says, then it seems you have more knowledge of the situation than I do. Wasted energy, Captain. You might come to wish you hadn't extended it in such a futile effort. Torture is expressly forbidden by the terms of the Sedilonius IV Convention governing treatment of prisoners. Are you in good health, he says. Do you have any physical ailments I should know about? Beautiful, isn't it? And he's showing him a knife. And you know why it's so highly prized? From this point on, you will enjoy no privilege of rank, no privilege of person. From now on, I refer to you only as human. You will have no other identity. And he cuts Picard's clothes off. I'm missing something. Just a second. First Officer's Log Supplemental. I have returned from the rendezvous point in the Lycian system with Dr. Crusher and Lieutenant Worf. Captain Picard's fate is still unknown. Dr. Crusher, there was no chance to go back for the captain. We barely made it back to Ferengi cargo ship ourselves. You were smart not to try. I don't feel so smart. Get some rest, Dr. Will. Then he meets with them. I want Geordi to analyze the readings from Beverly's tricorder. Tell him to scrutinize every detail of those caverns on Celtus 3. Aye, sir. Request permission to begin planning a rescue operation. I know you were close to him, Will, but we don't even know if he's still alive. Under the circumstances, a rescue mission would be foolhardy. Riker says, shouldn't we assume that he's alive until it's proven otherwise? We cannot just abandon him. He's gone, Jellicoe says. I'm sorry, Will, but you're going to have to accept that. I want those tricorder readings analyzed by 1400 hours. Yes, sir. They had Picard hanging for several hours naked, and then they put him in the chair for more questioning. I will not cover these sections. So they show them video of Picard. What is your current assignment? Special operations on Celtus 3. Do you have anything to say? Jellicoe says Captain Picard was not acting under my orders, and if we wish to execute him, under the terms of Salonius Convention, Captain Picard Lemnek interrupts him. The Selmas Convention applies to prisoners of war, which means you would have to acknowledge that he was captured during a mission authorized by the Federation. Are you willing to make such a mission? No, Jellicoe says. Then he will be treated as a terrorist. It's not my concern, Jellicoe says. There is, of course, an alternative. Jellicoe says, I'm listening. If the Federation agreed to complete an immediate withdrawal from this sector, then we would dispose to release Captain Picard and forget about this incident. I will have to discuss this with my superiors, Jellicoe says. Of course, you have 7 hours, and he leaves. So then Troy says, what are you going to do? And he says, send a message to Admiral Nechyev. I recommend that she reject Lemek's proposal and deploy additional starships along the border. What about Captain Picard? Riker asks. Jellicoe shakes his head. I'm not suggesting you trade an entire star system for one man's life, but you've got to acknowledge that these were Federation orders and he is a prisoner of war. No, Jellicoe says. He will have the protection of the Salonius Convention. Jellicoe says he would play right into Gulmik's hand. He's just waiting for some sign of weakness on our part before he starts making more demands. Riker says, I can't believe you're willing to sacrifice Captain Picard's life as a negotiating captain. Well, Captain, we are all concerned about... Jellicoe, are you questioning my judgment, Commander? As first officer, it is my responsibility to point out any actions that may be mistakes by a commanding officer, sir. And then it's time you found other responsibilities. You're relieved of duty. Don't make me confine you to quarters, sir. Data has been promoted to first officer, and he's wearing red in this episode. And I've got some comfort cat. My comfort cat. Captain Picard is being tortured. We need some comfort. They went to a lot of trouble to lure a Federation team to the planet. Why? It is possible that the Cardassians were specifically interested in capturing Captain Picard. Why do you say that? The METAGENIC weapon that they were supposedly developing using a Theta subspace delivery system. Captain Picard is only one of 3 Starfleet captains with extensive experience in the Theta band devices. The other 2 are no longer in Starfleet. So they tailored a fake weapon to lure Picard, but why? They must have known we changed all his access codes and security protocols. Maybe they're interested in something that he did in the past, something that happened while he was captain of the Enterprise, or something he was going to do in the future. In case of the Cardassian attack, the Enterprise will be assigned as command ship for this sector. If the Cardassians got wind of that, they might have assumed Captain Picard would know those defense plans. If your theory is correct, the Cardassians may be planning an attack somewhere in this sector. The question is where. Geordi, I want you to conduct a discreet scan of Gul Lemnek's ship. Look for anything unusual, anything that might indicate where they've been lately. Aye, sir. They show Picard again. Madrid, I want you to be very careful with your Wampot from now on. Jill, Aura, now that she's separated from her mother, she depends on you. I will, Father. Do humans have mothers and fathers? Yes, but human mothers and fathers don't love their children as we do. They're not the same as we are. Will you read to me tonight? Yes, of course I will. I will see you later. She leaves. Your daughter is very lovely, Picard says. Yes, I think so, and unusually bright. It's amazing, isn't it, the way they're able to speak to your heart. I must admit I was completely unprepared for the power she had over me when the moment she was born. I'm surprised you let her come in here. Why? To expose a child to this, to someone who is suffering, to see that it is you that is inflicting the suffering. From the time Jilla or could crawl, she's been taught about the enemies of the Cardassians, and the enemies deserve their fate. When children learn to devalve of others, they can devalue anyone, including their parents. What a blind, narrow view you have. What an arrogant man you are. What do you know of Cardassian history? I know that once you were peaceful people with a rich spiritual life. And what did peace and spirituality get us? People starved by the millions. Bodies went unburied. Disease went rampant. Suffering was unimaginable. Since the military took over, thousands more have died. But we are feeding the people. We acquired territory during the wars. We developed new resources. We've inhibited rebuilding programs. We have mandated agricultural programs. The military is what has done for the Cardassians. And he's still torturing Picard. So then we are back on the Enterprise. It looks like they had some minor hull degradation along their warp nacelles. Their distribution pattern indicates a recent exposure to a molecular dispersion field. Where would they have run into a dispersion field? The McAllister C5 Nebula just across the border. It's approximately 7 light years from Federation space. Could there be Cardassian ships inside the McAllister Nebula? It's possible, Geordi says, but they wouldn't be able to stay in there for very long. The particle flux in the nebula will begin to break down a ship's hull just after 72 hours. Is there a Federation system near the McAllister Nebula that might interest the Cardassians? Minos Cova is only 11 light years from the nebula, and the Cardassians tried to annex it during the war. Data, I want to be at Minos Cova in 1 hour. Aye, sir. Set course 350 Mark 215 and engage warp 8.5. And then they show Picard on the floor. The guy comes in and threatens him with Dr. Crusher, making Picard believe that they also captured Dr. Crusher and they're going to get information from her. So, I don't know how they expect us to see anything with that, but that's what they do. Okay, so then we're back on the Enterprise. Starfleet now believes the Cardassians are preparing to invade Minos Cova. I'm convinced their invasion fleet is hiding in the McAllister Nebula. I intend to hit them before they leave. Geordi says, Captain, what if you're wrong? What if the Cardassians are in that nebula to conduct scientific research? You'd have to have some pretty good evidence to convince me of that. Dr. Crusher says, you're still gambling hundreds of lives. Jellicoe says, this discussion is mute. The plan has been approved and we are going ahead. Mr. Data, by your calculations, how long could the Cardassian ship stay in the nebula? In 17 hours, their hull degradation will reach dangerous levels. They will have to leave before then. All right, Worf, prepare a series of 500 antimatter mines with magnetic targeting capabilities. Aye, sir. Jellicoe says, we're going to need a shuttle especially outfitted to operate in the nebula by 1400 hours. Beverly, you'll need to have sickbay ready for the casualties you're about to send me. That's right, dismissed. So then Picard is with the Cardassian again. And we'll just have a good one. So then Jellicoe was talking to Geordi. How are we doing? We're almost done. I've shielded the engine nacelles and the transporter system so they won't be affected by the particle flux from the nebula. Good. So they're in the shuttle. Been a while since I flew one of these. You're a pilot yourself, aren't you, Geordi? Yes, sir. I began my career as a shuttle pilot on the Jovian run, Jupiter to Saturn and back once a day, every day. Is that right? I was on the run myself for a while. Then you must have done the Titan's turn. Oh, yeah. You set a course directly for Titan. Hold it until you're just brushing the atmosphere. Then throw the helm hard over and whip around the moon at 0.7 C. and pray the hell nobody saw you. You know, this trip into the nebula is going to need someone who can do that Titan's turn in their sleep. These mines need to be laid within 2 kilometers of the Cardassian ships, but the particle flux from the nebula will blind all the sensors except for the proximity detector. You're going to need one heck of a pilot to pull that off. Is that you? I could do it, but truthfully, the man you want is Commander Riker. He's the best there is. So Jellicoe comes to talk to Riker. Is there something I can do for you, Captain? Are you aware of our plans to attack the Cardassian invasion fleet? Yes, sir. I understand you've been talking to every shuttle pilot on board. Let's drop the ranks for the moment. I don't like you. I think you're insubordinate, arrogant, willful, and I don't think you're a particularly good first officer, but you were also the best pilot on the ship. Well, now that the ranks are dropped, Captain, I don't like you either. You are arrogant and closed-minded. You need to control everything and everyone. You don't provide an atmosphere of trust, and you don't inspire these people to go out of their way for you. You've got everybody wound up so tight there's no joy in anything. I don't think you're a particularly good captain. I won't order you to fly this mission. I'm here to ask. Then ask me, will you puddle the shuttle, Commander? Yes. And then Jellicoe leaves, and Riker says, you're welcome to an empty room. So then we have Geordi and Riker on the shuttlecraft. We've lost primary navigation, switching to secondary systems. Internal dampeners compensating. Sensors inoperative, right on schedule. The proximity detector is working. We should be able to read their ships at a distance of 500 meters. Don't make this too easy. Jordy, the ship starts beeping. It's wobbly. Do I want to know how close that was? No, get ready for deploy the mines. So then we're back on the bridge of the Enterprise. Captain, the shuttlecraft is emerging from the nebula. Enterprise to shuttle. Were you successful, Commander? Aye, sir. The mines are laid. Very well. Red alert. Stand by to detonate the mines on my command. Standing by, Worf says. Open a channel to Relcar. Reklar. And he comes on screen. The Cardassian territory, Captain. Your presence here is another deliberate provocation to you. I'm not going to argue with you, Golmak. Every one of your ships has a mine on its belly. My finger's on the button, and you're in a bad position. You can't intimidate us. Mr. Worf set off Alpha 4-2. Aye, sir. And a ship shakes. That was just a baby. The big boys are sitting on your hull just waiting to say the word. What are your terms? Your ships will leave the nebula one by one. Each ship will eject its primary phaser coil before setting course for the nearest Cardassian base. But what will that will leave us defenseless? Mr. Worf, prepare. But that will leave us defenseless. Mr. Worf, prepare to detonate. I will agree to your terms. Oh, excellent. And one more thing. I understand you're holding a Starfleet officer named Jean-Luc Picard. I expect him to be returned immediately. And they show Picard being let go, sort of kind of one more torture bit here. So then we're back to the Enterprise. Data is black, is back in his regular uniform. Just the way you left it, maybe a little better. Computer transfer all command codes to Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Voice authorization Jelfa Alco 3-1. Transfer complete. USS Enterprise now under command of Jean-Luc Picard. I relieve you, sir. I stand relieved. And he tells the entire crew, it's been an honor serving with you. And he leaves. You have the bridge number 1. I, sir. And Picard goes and has a talk with Troy. I don't know where to begin. I read your report. What I didn't put in the report was that at the end he gave me the choice between a life of comfort or mere torture. All I had to do was say that I could see 5 lights, when in fact there were only 4. You didn't say that. No, 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 I was going to. I would have told him anything, anything at all, but more than that, I believed I could see the 5 lights, and that's where the episode ends. It's one of the reasons I hate this episode. But we got through it together. So that was the end of Chain of Command Part 2. We will move on next week to Ship in a Bottle. So please go back and watch Quality of Life, Chain in Command 1, Chain in Command 2, Ship in a Bottle next week, and all my other future episodes of Star Trek Next Generation. And please check out If Then later this afternoon. I really work hard on those episodes. It takes a while to put all the materials together. And please hit the like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Oh, don't forget Flashback Monday. It's another huge project of mine. Have a good one.